Yes, 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 yes. It is the Castworthy Podcast. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, joined here by EJ the Savage and the VP of Research. It is Sunday, April 12th, Easter Sunday. Gentlemen, for those of you that were not keeping track, it is the day that Jesus came back. He has risen.
Allegedly.
Glory be to God. Take me to the king. He found some eggs, a couple bunnies around him. Listen, man, it's episode 50. Shit. This is only episode 50 of our published ones. We probably recorded about 60, but haven't posted about 10 of them because y'all be super toxic all the goddamn time. Yeah, it's episode 50, episode L in Roman numerals. Take me to the Greek. Get me to the Greek, right, EJ?
Get him to the Greek.
What's up, man? How you guys doing?
Man, it's good, brother. It's good. Good timing. Good day. We are here. Coronavirus.
Oh, I'm here for some toxicity today.
I got what you need, brother. I got what you need.
So, VP, what's up with you, man? Why you sitting there? Why you sitting there like somebody fucking froze you? Men in black ass.
Nah, I'm good, man. I'm just chilling, hanging out with the family. Trying to keep things interesting, find shit to do. Yesterday I taught my son how to play dominoes, and he's like, I know how to play dominoes already. And I was like, you know how to connect numbers. Let me show you how to play dominoes.
Bones?
Some bones.
Some bones?
Yes, sir.
I had to thrash the children in Monopoly.
Again?
Always. Almost lost, though. Almost lost.
But you were the banker, right? So you had slipped that extra 500?
Nah. I haven't taught them that lesson yet.
Extra 5 in the tuck?
I haven't taught them that lesson yet. They're not ready for that advanced level of Jedi.
I know all about that one. Oh man, shit, man. I'm just trying to this quarantine. I get stir crazy, and I leave and go to work every day. So, and I'm still getting stir crazy. So I can imagine y'all that don't do shit and work at home, VP, and don't go nowhere. But there's like when I went to work yesterday, there's a shitload of fucking cars out there, like more cars now than I think on a regular Saturday before, coronavirus.
Yeah, people running out of, it depending on your job, and like if you don't have a means to stay, this quarantine and stuff was only gonna last but so long, depending on your job, Might have to go back.
Yeah.
I heard they started forking out the 1200 to the hood. Because the rumor was that they were starting with the lower income and people with WIC, Section 8, food stamps, etc., etc., etc. I saw somebody post that they had gotten their little 1200 joint. Have you heard anything about that, VP? I know you wouldn't have gotten it because you're wealthy, but
they. I've a newspaper in the Miami Herald that some people did start getting them already. Is that they started with people who have already filed their 2019 taxes, and so since people in that income bracket probably depend on getting their return, they probably filed like really early in the year as soon as they got W-2s or whatever. Hence the reason why they've probably already got 1,200 from the stimulus thing. Like me, as an example, I've done my taxes. I just haven't filed them yet. So, if they're waiting, if they're waiting to start with the 2018 people, then,
Yeah, from the hood. Because those are the people that fucking file ASAP. They file on December 30th. Motherfuckers be in the payday loan. Like, yo, y'all don't do taxes a couple days early. I can give you my last paycheck. Shit, I'll sell you fucking 300 in food stamps for 175 if you do my taxes early.
Y'all are wild.
EJ, man, where can we be found, man?
Wow.
Man, we got a number of outlets now. Of course, your normal ones, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Google Play. There's iHeartRadio, Deezer. Let me just get
Deezer nuts.
Spotify. So Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. There's a new one.
Spreaker.
About to submit it. Yeah, said Spreaker. Spreaker is a good community of podcasts. I just added to Podchaser for anyone who might be on that. But yeah, your main ones: Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and the others are some fairly new distributors. So yeah.
Yeah, so you should be able to find us, motherfucker. If you got an Apple phone, just type in Apple Podcast, search it, type in Castworthy, hit the subscribe button. And if you have Android, then you go to the Google Play Store
Or Spotify.
Yes, and type in Castworthy and subscribe. I think you can actually on Spotify, I think it's Spotify, or it might be Apple, where you can have an update you when a new episode comes out. So, set that alarm, set that update. I know you're waiting anxiously to hear what kind of toxicity EJ has.
Yes, indeed.
To come with. Probably something that has to do with the mocha. The mocha variety of the young ladies. All right. So I'm getting crazy, man. I'm tired of talking about the virus. I'm tired of fucking hearing about it. You guys got anything pressing that we need to talk about that before we get into some just having a fucking decent episode without that shit? Anything updated that you've heard, VP? Because I know you're the MSNBC guy.
Nothing pressing. I guess over this current weekend, I guess you say, we topped 500,000 cases nationwide. So that's kind of a big deal. From what I've seen watching some of the Sunday morning news shows, it looks like Trump keeps talking about wanting to quote unquote reopen the economy on May 1st. But, I kind of wish the media would stop reporting that, because Trump really has like no power here as far as reopening things, quote unquote. It's up to your mayors and your governors and things like that. He has no authority to come in and say, okay, this, Florida, you can stop staying at home now. He can say that, but until the governor or your mayor or whoever, says that, then, you're still stuck at home following those stay-at-home orders. But other than that, man, it's just, more cases, more death. I saw a story last night on Twitter from this nurse on I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Now This. They post videos of people, and it was a nurse who actually came from another state, and she went to New York to help. And she was just crying because she was saying like how emotionally drained she is. She's tired of like seeing people die over and over and over again, and, that's not something that I actually had ever contemplated, kind of like the mental health aspect that this is having on health professionals, because, these people over the last, 3 weeks to a month have probably seen more death than they see in a career, and so I wonder I wonder what kind of impact that's going to have on our health system going forward. Once we get past coronavirus, you could have people checking out saying, I can't do this shit anymore, and, moving on to other careers or something like that. And then what kind of a strain does that have on the health system,
Yeah. I just saw a nurse that I know post something similar to that, and how she was saying typically you have to kind of numb yourself to some of the things that you see. But I guess she kind of alluded to the fact that this is kind of hitting them a little bit harder than normal. So yeah,
That's
definitely.
and they're hiring like crazy up there because obviously the volume. My one of the people at my job was telling me that their spouse was considering heading up there. They put in some information and applied or whatever, but they're paying out all right. They're paying pretty decently. Shit, almost $1,000 a day, what it amounts to. So you gotta believe that shit's crazy as fuck for them to pay out at, first of all, at that level, and then number two, for them to still be having a challenge in the just the society that we're in, where people love money. I love money. I mean, if I knew how to fucking put a needle in somebody's arm, I would apply for that shit for $1,000 a day. You know what I'm saying? But that shit's got to be super stressful, man. Super stress. I saw just a lot of heartbreaking videos and images out there and shit. Fucking there was a picture on that hit the internet where a doctor has a toddler and shit, and he's working on all the COVID cases, and they showed him through like a glass sliding door at his house.
Mhm.
Basically, that's how he's fucking interacts with his kid and shit. And I couldn't fucking imagine that shit, man.
Yeah, I saw that went viral.
Yeah, man.
Mhm. Yeah.
Shit's crazy. But yeah, I mean, more dumb shit from Trump. Obviously, he's getting on the fucking news, sounding dumb, looking dumb. Fucking using this shit yesterday where he said there's hundreds of thousand million masks or some shit like that. Fucking oh man, I gotta fucking find that shit. I thought for sure you would have seen that shit, Laurie. Pretty sure I sent it to you guys.
No, I did. When
I was having a
he
debate.
said something like,
Like,
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
yeah, I saw it. He said some shit like, there was like he said the number, it was like 1,780,000, and then he tried to repeat it and was like, there was like 1,700,000 masks or whatever, like this dude, man, he's just I just can't with him, man. He's just so fucking dumb, yo. Every time I see him talk or do anything, I just can't see how people did this to the country, and our friend Eric posted something in the chat yesterday, and I felt the exact same way when I read it, where it said it was talking about undecided voters. Like the person was like, I imagine being on a plane and the flight attendant comes down the aisle, brings the cart next to me and says, would you like something to eat? And I say, sure. And the flight attendant says, well, we have the chicken, and then we also have a platter of shit with broken pieces of glass in it. And then and an undecided voter is basically like, how was the chicken prepared? Like as if this is a fucking option, and that's how I feel having fucking Trump, Like, I don't know how you could be undecided in this fucking election.
I mean, ask 50% of Caucasian women. I mean, ask 50% of Caucasian women. You'd be surprised. You follow some of the posts and follow some of the comments. Just look down. You'll see all of the America that voted for this guy and what their thoughts are and how they feel. You know, it's the same people that follow your sports teams, your favorite sports teams, and the people that are quick to say, "Yeah, we'll cut him. He talks too much and he does too much." You
Shut up
know,
and dribble.
shut up and dribble. Like being a Jets fan, you know what I'm saying? Being a black Jets fan, I really point that out. You know, going to games and hearing the things that are being said, the discussions, just looking at the fan comments, just the commentary, the culture and the feeling behind a lot of this stuff. These are the people that truly have voted, you know, not just for the right, but you know, for the epitome of oppression, the epitome of privilege. You know, just it's there, man, and it really goes down to human preservation. I rather vote for somebody that I believe at all costs is going to do what's right for me because of my ethnicity, and this is all that matters. Screw the financial behind it, screw the idiocy behind it. I'm just gonna go with what I believe is akin to me, and this is what they do.
Um, I think it's, when you talk about Caucasian women, I think that you know they like financial stability, right? And the financial stability comes from the Caucasian men that they deal with, right? And the Caucasian men that they deal with that have that stability for them, and the millions and however much money they have, um they're the ones that are supporters of Trump. So I think that could be partially why you see that 50% that you talk about, EJ.
We debated this once before, I think, a little bit on an episode in the past. And I gotta say again, while I believe that, I do believe that there is a large element of that, especially when you're talking about the high tax bracket, stay at home moms, people that are kind of like all into, you know, what their spouse is about, and they're kind of all on the same page. But we cannot we cannot devalue the potential for the white woman, the Caucasian woman, and their level of racism. Just historically, you know what I'm saying? Of course, we're not talking about all, we're not generalizing. We're talking about, you know, those that we've seen. And I think with the internet, you know, you seen the lady that called the cops on people, the lady that, you know, the employee, I forget for who she worked for, the one that was dropping the M bombs, you know, the people in the store, the women in the stores running up on people, calling them niggers, and you know, and then just going back historically, when you look at the Emmett Till situation, Rosewood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, these cry wolf stories saying that the black man, he took me, he did this, he did that. What was it that Hillary said? What was it that Hillary said? The predator, sexual predators, you know, super predators, you know, that
That super
whole thing.
predator comment.
Yeah, that whole thing. I mean, you know, and I like to take digs at Hillary, but I will never forgive her for that. But you know, that whole thing, man, when you look at it, you know, that whole thing is just interwoven in this country, in a history of racism. And you know, we got to remember when, you know, guys were getting hung, you know, when people were getting hung and lynched and all of that stuff, you know, the whole family was there, the kids, the mom, the dad, you know, and racism is a taught thing. It's something that's passed down from generation to generation, the hatred. So, you know, we can't underestimate that 50% of those women, yeah, they probably did go with the family, they probably did go with the patriarch. A lot of them felt that way too. I mean, for you to you know, go against the grain of saying, you know what, this guy just said he grabs women by the pussies. You know, I mean, we talking about 50%. We not talking about 25, 15. We talking about 50%. 50.
A little grabbage.
50.
Performed
Yeah.
1.87 million tests today, so that's 1,870,000 1,000 million tests. Think of that. 1 million.
How many tests?
1 billion, gajillion, fifillion, million.
Man. This is their guy. This is their guy.
That's the guy that people are supporting, Vari.
Yeah, man.
Oh my
the the shit is insane, man. Like, it's I don't see how people see this, especially, you have people who your average Joe, people who are just, they're living their life, they're not following the day-to-day of politics and what the president is doing and things like that. And I talk often to people when I talk about politics with them about how there are a lot of people, because of the way that the media sanitizes Trump, who see him and it seems as though he acts just like a normal president. They come out and they see a clip of him saying something and they say, okay, well, it seems like he's on the shit, and then they move on and keep living their life, But with everybody being quarantined and this coronavirus thing happening, you have more people who are probably following the news, not necessarily because they want to see Trump. It's just that they want to see, like, what the fuck is going on, like, what do I need to do with my family? Should I buy all the toilet paper in the store? Do I need to never go outside again for 6 months? Whatever the case, right? And so these people are probably consuming more news than they normally do, in an average week, month, whatever, right? And so these folks are seeing Trump, daily, when a reporter asked him like 2 weeks ago, what do you say to that family who's sitting at home right now and they're scared? And Trump's response is to the reporter, I tell them, you're a horrible reporter. You're a terrible person. Yeah. And you're sitting at home, sheltering in place, wondering, how are you going to protect your kids or whatever? You're scared. And the president's answer to that is that this reporter is horrible, right? Like what comfort does that give you? You know what I'm saying? But it's people in this country that see that and they're like, fuck yeah, And I don't see how people watch this fucking shit show and think, you know what? We need more of that. It's fucking amazing to me, man.
It really doesn't surprise me, man. If you look at the Vice, like the Vice interviews and programs where they went and talked to like the community of the racists and all of that, and how they had all of these guns and they having these hate rallies, and these people are really burrowed in their brain. It's really seared in their brain. Same way you get programmed as a soldier, as anything else. It's really seared in their brain that they are the superior people. They got to load up all the guns to protect themselves. They got to they got to build the bunkers. They got to do all of this. And they're really going to die with the flag. And I mean, when you think about it, and I say the flag in this term, in this sense, we're talking about the bad things associated with the flag, i.e. Trump, the racism. These people, if you think about it, and even just at the core of thinking about what it truly means to be an American patriot, freedom, these are the same people that fought for liberty, truth and justice, and their ancestors were totally cool with people working for free under extreme abuse and all of this stuff, and they really thought like it's okay. They're the people that's trying to rewrite the history books and say, well, they were part-time laborers, who worked. They got wages, they got a home. When talking about slavery, these are really these people that are just out there, man. They're gone. The Zimmermans, these people, it's there. It's always been there. And I think we just disillusion ourselves because today's day and age, it's 2020. We love to believe that because of all of the great things that we can say that no one else thinks like this anymore. No, people can't be so irrational anymore to think this way. No, they are still here. And if anything that Trump has taught us, they've just resurfaced, or they just made it more public and they felt more emboldened to really be who they are. And these are the people that are behind them, man. We can't look at this rationally. You can't.
Yeah. They're closet people, man. The closet people, you just don't understand or realize that same person that you're having the conversation, and maybe somebody, makes a comment or laugh or jokes about Trump. That person that sits in the back and doesn't comment, doesn't say shit, doesn't laugh, doesn't engage. They probably are, on that side of it. And at this point, I just can't quite understand how you could continue to support somebody and then you know get offended if somebody says that you have tendencies of a racist or a bigot, because you're supporting said person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
So
A lot of people like to say things like, "Oh, well, I support the policy and not the person and that kind of thing." But that person who's implementing the policy has this.
This guy.
and away we go.
High hopes over.
Yeah, man, fuck that. I'm just tired of this corona shit, man. I want this shit to be done with.
That's
You
just that's the worst part about it though. Like when will we ever know when we're truly in the clear? China, they're saying, is lifted, lifted the quarantine, I guess. But then there was reports that people were getting it again, so when do we really truly know, man? And I mean, at this timeline, and like VP was saying, it is going to be largely based on your local municipalities, your governors, your mayors, etc. And it's like, so when do you really know, or when will we really know if we're really clear out there? With this timeline, it's looking like we probably won't be out there till the fall. We done skipped all the spring and summer, you know what I'm saying? And we don't get back out there till winter. But then you got to think our fabric of life is completely changed, yo. I can't remember the last time I gave a dude dap. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
can't remember the last time I gave a dude dap. And then you in the stores, you got the floor markers, you know what I mean? Stay 6 feet away, this, that, and the third. Like, yo, the fabric of our life is really gonna be changed. I'm really scared and thinking about, getting back out there and using public transportation. You know what I mean? Because the trains were crowded as shit already beforehand. So now I'm like, shit, what does this look like for the American people going forward?
How long do you guys say
Yeah,
this has to last before fucking before it, so someone just has to say, all right, fuck it, we have to pop shit open? Like I agree with you, Vari. Like I think Trump is way ahead of it, way ahead of the time frame of that, to say that he wants to pop shit back open by May, etc., etc., etc. But when does this become our standard way of life? What is that time frame to you guys? Like I was having that conversation yesterday, and I just couldn't. And to your point, EJ, I couldn't think about it. I mean, obviously, the handshaking and stuff like that, you can get past that, but the walking into a store or gas station and having to be 6 feet away, and if for whatever reason they can't come up with some shit to combat this, we can't keep people fucking sheltered in the house forever. You know what I'm saying? Like there's got to be a time frame to where if there's no end in sight at that mark, whether it's a year, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 8 months, whether it's the opening of the school year next year in most places, like what does that look like if you guys were thinking about it?
So in my opinion on that, I think that time to having things go back to somewhat being normal is fast approaching, like within the next few weeks. And the reason why I say that is that our way of life in America is going to drive us to get back to that sense of normalcy, because in this country, we don't have a social safety net, right? And so if you don't work, then you don't earn, and you can't, do the things that you need to do for yourself. If you look at other countries, like in Italy, for example. Italy said everybody needs to stay home, and the government told banks and landlords, etc., nobody's being foreclosed on, nobody's being evicted, nobody's lights are getting turned off, nobody's water, etc., etc. We'll figure this shit out on the back end whenever we have to figure it out when we get to that point. And people at home chilling, right? And they go out when they need food and when they need medicine, or if they need medical treatment, etc. And to a certain extent, you see that across Europe and places like Canada, etc. Right? When you get here, the government is not telling people that. You have some places that are saying, the police are basically saying, we're not going out to serve eviction notices, right? That doesn't mean that your landlord is not trying to evict you. The police is just saying, we're not serving the notice right now, right? But nobody said that this thing is not happening. There are some companies like utilities who are saying, we're not going to turn your lights off. But that's these companies making a decision. It's not something that's mandated by the government, right? And so because of those things and the pressures that it bring on individual people, it's gonna make people start telling the government, we need to get back to work. I have to be able to feed my kids. I have to be able to pay my bills, etc. And you could see a circumstance where the people are trying to force the government to get things back to normal, because here we've decided that having a social safety net is not important as the way that they've done it in other countries. So I think that time is fast approaching.
Yeah, and even and going back to your point, as a larger subplot to that, you got to go back to the local governments again. Like a lot of these local governments, whether it be state, city, they still haven't shut down. I mean, they still have not shut down. So it's still people working. I overheard somebody talking, saying like, hey, we've never had a telework policy at this agency. Some positions really don't have anything to do with teleworking. So are we just basically going to be paying people to stay at home and not do anything? Yeah. Why is it your problem? Why is it your money? You know what I'm saying? Why do you think that way? Why do you have to be Overwatch to be like, well, you can't just sit at home and do nothing? Man, this is unprecedented. This isn't something that has ever happened in this scale. And so we still have people, to your point, VP, that are still thinking about the money, the margin. Like when this government agency, you have the money to do this, you have the administrative leave, you have this stuff to do this. You know what I'm saying? It's the culture of this nation is in the thought process. That's really why, to your point, I could see that being the case. And is it the right thing? Is it the best thing? Probably not. But yeah, man, I mean, bars here in Maryland are starting to sell packaged alcohol and stuff, which I don't know if they've been told via the governor and his his staff that they can now do that, because they're pretty much needing to find ways to be creative to, I guess, make some kind of money. So yeah, it's something, man. I don't know.
They behind the curve on that, because they've been doing takeout alcohol down here in Florida for fucking shit for weeks now. Like, these motherfuckers, as soon as they put the curfew out, niggas was like, yo, you want a daiquiri to go? You know what I'm saying? You can't get it delivered, but you can pick it up. If you drive in and do pickup, you could pick up your little daiquiri or your mojito or whatever it is that you drink and shit. But yeah, I mean, I was having that conversation yesterday, and I'm just, again, just thinking, like, once you get past, the initial scare, and you can confidently say that, we have, enough tests in place. They've mass produced ventilators, and they can confidently again say that they feel comfortable sending people back to work, because if they end up sick, the economy will get back to somewhat normalcy. But if people get sick, they'll be able to get the treatment that they need, whether or not they're going to be put at risk, but they'll be able to get treatment. It is, I think that's where we have to get to. And I think that's where we're going to get to before we get to a point where they're like, all right, we have a fucking vaccine or a cure. And all right, now let's get back, because I just think that's too far away. And when you think about vaccines, you got to go through testing and testing and testing, right? You don't know long-term effects of these things. If they do come up with one, you don't know if 6 months from now, fucking, you fucking drop dead, or you start growing an elbow out the side of your neck or some shit. Like, just, because they decided to throw some crazy shit in there. So that's what I was thinking. And then, I started to think, well, I think that should be the plan anyway. Because if, for whatever reason, let's say this shit becomes a recurring thing like the flu every year, they can't shut the fucking world down every year for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months at a shot. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think to VP's point, I think it's coming. I don't think it's weeks away. I hope it's not just weeks away, because it's important that we have the ventilators in place and stuff. But I would say probably by maybe Halloween I think everything's back open.
Nah, it's gonna be way sooner than that. And part of the reason is that we're in 2020. It's an election year, and Trump understands, as stupid as he is, he understands that his fate is tied to the economy, right? And he also understands that most people are stupid as fuck, and they believe that the stock market is the economy. So people have been watching the balances in their 401k go down. They've been watching the reporting of the Dow Jones, losing 7,000-8,000 points, 700-800 1,000 points a day. It's been going up as of late, but before then, just dropping, right? And that's going to make people think, well, Trump's not doing a good job here. And people aren't working, so they aren't earning. And it's easy for people to tie those things to the government. And in some cases, you're normally right, but it's not always the case that it's the government's fault that this thing or that thing happened in the economy, right? But Trump understands that if people are seeing shit not happening in the economy and high unemployment and things like that, they're going to blame him for it. And he knows that if that happens, he has a good shot of not being reelected, which is why he's in such a rush to get things back to normal. So that way he can go into November with his best shot. It's also the same reason why you see them talking about things like vote by mail. Trump and a lot of Republicans are totally against it, because if you have people are lazy and won't go out and stand in line to vote. But if you're just sending a ballot to their house, he knows there's going to be higher participation. Whereas if things are going on still and they have these shelter and order places, he's programmed his people to believe this is a hoax. It's not a big deal, et cetera, et cetera. So they're going to go out to vote for him. Whereas people who are on the opposite side believe in science and say, man, this thing is a big deal. While I don't want Trump to be reelected, I don't know if I can risk my health to go out to make that thing happen. And they may stay home, and then he gets reelected anyway. So I think Trump is going to be a big driving force behind getting things back to normal. And it also is, like I said in the last podcast, it's going to become political, where you're going to have Trump saying, we need to open things up and get back to normal, et cetera. And you're going to have some of these governors in these Democratic states like New York and California, Illinois, et cetera, who are saying this shit is still a crisis and we can't allow people to start leaving their homes yet because things are still crazy. And then it's going to become an us versus them kind of thing. And we're not going to be focused on the health. We're going to be focused on the politics.
Yeah. Somebody was saying some shit, and you would probably be the best one to answer this. If Congress or the Senate or somebody deems it an emergency or something like that, he can postpone the election. Is that right?
No.
I know you.
No.
We talked about it last time, and it being protected by the Constitution.
Yeah, Trump has no power in that. The date of the election is something that's mandated by the Constitution. There's no individual law that Congress has passed or your state government has passed or whatever. The election is going to be held on, I think it's November 3rd this year, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and that's going to happen. The amount of people who participate in it, whether they vote by mail or in person or whatever, that's to be determined, but the election is going to happen. Trump has no power in delaying it.
Do you think that the mail voting is more impactful or more likely to be an impact or be impacted for states that don't currently do like early voting? Because like we do early voting in Florida, so that's nothing new for us. People get it. Whether they do it or not right now is, neither here nor there, but we already know that it's a thing. I'm thinking more along the lines of the states that don't do it, which I'm pretty sure like Connecticut doesn't do it. And, a lot of the up north states, which it would make sense because, winter, but.
Yeah, I think that, voting by mail voting by mail period is a good thing in my opinion. I think it allows more people to participate, especially like you mentioned in states that are up north where they actually have winter and it snows and things like that. To have people go out in those conditions, it's just, it's stupid. So early voting, vote by mail. But once we do vote by mail, if we can vote by mail, how are these ballots being verified? So like here in Florida, for example, they do signature match where you have some election worker, some old lady who's looking at your signature on file, looking at the signature on your envelope, and she's determining whether or not it's valid. It's not like she's some handwriting expert. She's just some lady who works at the elections department, right? And so I could see a situation where in, certain places they're rejecting more ballots than they normally do, depending on the politics of that area, so that also could be a concern. But I think for the most part, voting by mail is a positive.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's a few months away. Let's hope that, we don't have to put it to people's choices, whether they choose their health or they choose to vote, because as much as people hate Trump, I think the people that love him will risk their health, but us, like black people not going out. Like niggas ain't going outside to vote, if they got to wear a mask and gloves, and if they still getting the news that people is dying and shit. Like you got the heavyweights, the people that are into politics that will, but the conversation that we always have of the the ones that swarm to a Biden and stuff like that, they're not. Like Aunt Shirley, she not going. The lunch lady, Big Mama, they not going out. They not risking it. For that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's get toxic,
Yeah.
bro.
I think that Pelosi, real quick, I think that Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats in Congress, they're in the process right now of negotiating another aid package in addition to the one that they passed a couple of weeks back. Mm-hmm. And I think that they need to put in some money or whatever for vote by mail. And Pelosi, especially since she runs the House and nothing can pass the House until she says it can, needs to say that it's non-negotiable. If the vote by mail shit is not in here, this thing is not passing. And if the Republicans want to play chicken with it, then she should just let it go. It's going to cause people some pain at first, but at the end of the day, we have to be able to vote in this country, and people shouldn't have to risk their life to exercise the franchise.
It's gonna be tough because you're gonna be putting them in a real tough. She's gonna be put in a real tough spot, and that'll be a lot of ammo for someone like a Trump to kind of play on people's heartstrings and say, well, They don't care about your livelihood, and you always got to go by the hierarchy of needs. You know what I'm saying? People needing that money and stuff that they want to do, they're gonna see that first before, the impact of having their freedom to vote safely. It's gonna be tough.
Yep. Yep. Talking about this, what they passed, the stimulus, etc. Why the fuck our shit so difficult compared to Canada? Like, why are we so damn behind the fucking eight ball? Like, I saw in some viral posts that hit that in Canada, motherfuckers went online, register real quick, and confirm 2K, all yours. You ain't gotta do nothing else. Like, we can't even get motherfucking unemployment done. Like, there's motherfuckers that lost their jobs weeks ago that still can't even get fucking application in. Online they can't do it. Maybe they have the paper one, but it's gonna be so backed up by the time they, once they send it in, if they haven't already. You're gonna have people that are gonna be out of work for a month, and if we are on track, like you think, VP, 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away, before these people get their goddamn unemployment money, they could be expected to already have found new work or gone back to work.
Well, I can answer that, and I can give it to you in a very short answer. The shit's by design.
Wow.
America.
You people, man.
America.
Land of the free, home of the brave, huh? Fucking land of opportunity.
It's by design. The shit is by design. Like here in Florida, you're talking about like the unemployment system. Rick Scott, when he was governor in 2011, he decided to revamp the unemployment system because he had people in the business community who supported him, who said our unemployment insurance taxes are too high. So Rick Scott said, well, we need to lower those unemployment taxes. And because people might get unemployed and need to use the system, we need to make the system fucked up so that way it's hard to even get it. So that way it's taking in a little benefit and paying out even less benefit. And that was kind of okay because the economy was improving after the 08 crash in 2011 and 2012 and so on. You fast forward to 2020 when people are out of work because of this fucking pandemic. And now the system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It was designed to take in little money and pay out even less. And it's doing exactly that. It's by design.
Oh, man. All right. Fuck that. Let's get off of that. Let's talk about some toxic shit. EJ, you was talking about some nigga TV shows. Tell me about it. Give me a premise, man.
Man,
I need to laugh and joke and
so you don't watch Insecure, but today is the day that Insecure comes back to HBO. Issa Rae's flagship show. Myself and VP watch it faithfully, right?
Yes,
so the whole
sir.
premise of the show,
Issa.
Yes, it is. Issa Rae is a young in this show because I think she's in her 30s in real life, but in this show, let's put her anywhere from 27 to 32. Throughout the course of the show, basically trying to navigate through career, racism, hard times, friendships, and love. And so the other night, I believe it was Friday night, I was on the Zoom happy hour with a number of people, drinking, talking. I knew like some of them I didn't know. The ratio of black men to women was kind of even. And so I threw the hornet's nest in there and I brought up Insecure. Now, one of the bigger storylines of this show was how Issa, the main character, cheated on her boyfriend of many years. And so I brought it up. I said, how many of y'all are, because she went and basically cheated on him. He went from not having a job, kind of being lazy, or you could say whatever, and then he got cheated on, found out about it, left her and kind of upgraded, you know, in a lot of different ways. And she kind of fell to the bottom. So I was basically asking the ladies on there, you know, how many of them still defend Issa's actions? To no surprise, almost all of the black women that were single, minus the couple that were in a relationship, they all defended her to no avail, no cause, no nothing. And it shocked me because black women seemingly would rather defend an act that they would otherwise at any other time and circumstance deem probably one of the most foul things anyone could do, just for the sake of bashing the guy. So I had to bring it up to y'all because it shocked me, because the whole underlying premise was, you know, he was less than a man because he didn't want to go out there get a job, so she was unhappy. So they basically said that excused her cheating. So I said, all of the guys that historically have supported their wives, that don't have jobs, that don't do anything, they may be house moms or whatever, you're basically saying it's okay for somebody to cheat when they're not happy? And the answer was yes, when it applies to the woman.
So just not happy allows you to be able to cheat? Man, I need to revisit this black woman thing. Shit. I've been off the fucking off the market too long if that's how they thinking out there now. Shit. So all right. So what you telling me is this dude didn't have it in the TV show. He didn't have a job. She had higher aspirations. She cheated on him because he didn't have a job and he was sitting at home, and she wasn't happy in the relationship because of that. Did she cheat with somebody that, like, you know, was doing it, like was doing good, or
No,
just cheated?
she cheated with a aspiring musician who really, he might have had something stable going on, but he wasn't really no better than the dude she had, and he kind of already let her know ahead of time what it was going to be hitting for. You know what I'm saying? Their relationship was pretty rocky, you know what I'm saying? So she went out there, you know, grass is greener kind of situation, and wound up losing her job, the whole nine. It got really bad for her.
And these little harlots that you were in the fucking
and
in the video chat with fucking justified this, is that right?
I'm telling you, like General Custard, man, just fighting till there was nothing else to fight for.
Oh.
So Steve, since you don't watch the show, let me fill in a couple of the that EJ left out here. The dude wasn't just like some unemployed motherfucker sitting at home. He went to school for like IT or something, and he was trying to develop an app. And so he wasn't working because he was supposed to be developing this app or whatever, but you don't really see him putting a lot of time into the app. He's just kind of sitting at home. But so that's why he wasn't working.
Okay.
The dude she cheated on him with was actually an ex. The dude she cheated on him with was like an ex, was like somebody like she had been with for a while, and then they broke it off for whatever reason, and then they end up reconnecting or whatever. And then you know, part of the thing that the show is throwing at you too is that, like, everything that EJ said, like, she cheats on him with the dude, whatever. He turns his life around. He gets him a job in the IT field or whatever, and then he meets a new chick. Now the new chick he meets, she's like a teller at a bank or whatever, and like anytime he would go to the bank, he would do like this self-deprecating like jokes like, hey, I need to get some money out. Yeah, I know it ain't nothing in there. And then she would respond with something like, hey, it's something in there, you know, at least you trying, you know, like that, like supportive type shit, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, after everything was done, you know, in the real world, you start seeing this debate of people like, oh, well, he wasn't doing shit, so he deserved to get cheated on. Whereas other people are like, maybe if she had just supported the motherfucker, you know, he could have been doing better, you know. So that's kind of where the dividing lines are at, you know.
So
Yeah.
did you ask any of those hussies if he decides or he if he becomes successful, if it's expected that he takes her back?
So check this out, right? It was funny because and it's funny because in 2020, man, we're still as a community, we're still just beating each other up. Typically, there was one person on there that typically I've known her historically for like maybe like 6, 7 years, man. Dudes have done her dirty. She has every reason to feel like to hell with men, but she now is happy with a guy, and she was on they were on in the joint together, right? And it was amazing because they tried to call her to rally to the cause, and she just looked to the right like, nah, dog, I'm getting ass tonight, I'm good. And and then so I brought up the Tyler Perry movie. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I just recently saw it with Taraji P. Henson as one of the main actors, called
Yeah, I
Acrimony.
saw that.
And so in this flick,
Oh, I didn't watch
yeah, in this flick, man, it's out there. It's wild. It's a Tyler Perry over dramatized joint.
It's Insecure on steroids,
It's
basically.
Insecure on steroids in this instance. And basically she's with the dude. She met him in college, they get married, whatever. You know, at one point he cheats on her as young kids or whatever. She goes and drives her car into this dude's trailer, injures herself. She can't have kids. Boom, they still get together, they get married. Moving forward, he's basically doing the same thing, trying to bank on this big computer idea. Basically, she gets rid of him, they divorce, and he hits, yo. We talking about like 300 mil and residuals, you know what I'm saying? So he basically broke her off with a $10 million check, you know, and then some. And she basically at that point she goes nuts. I mean, I think we ignore the fact that she's nuts from the very beginning of the movie. But she goes nuts and then tries to kill this dude. So it's crazy because you see that instance, and I was asking him, I was just like, yo, so now that he's on and she's down, you know what I'm saying? Now what? And you know, all they could say was, you know, fuck him. He was a loser. He didn't do anything. I even brought into the equation. I said, well, maybe he never got up and did anything because he was depressed on the show. They like, we can't diagnose people in TV shows, TV characters. I said, why not? We do that all the time. When you have psychos and mental health, and so when it applies to this situation, it doesn't apply. I mean, this shit was crazy, man. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I mean, I think at that point he don't owe her shit.
Now on this one, Steve, let me fill in a little bit of the gaps again on Acrimony. So
I'm gonna go
it's kind
watch
of the
it.
same
Don't ruin
situation where. Okay, well, I'm not going to ruin it, but I'm saying it's kind of the same situation that EJ brought up with Insecure. The difference is that this dude has an invention, but he's working on it daily. He's working on it, trying to get it on, and the shit ain't going nowhere, right? And the Taraji P character, like her, when she first met dude, her mom died, and so the mom had left her 3 daughters, she and her 2 sisters, the house and some life insurance money. So Taraji ends up using the money because this dude lost his scholarship. She paid for this nigga to go to college. They living in the mom's house. He got her to mortgage the house to help fund his invention. Nothing's happening. And it gets to the point to where like she's working like 12, 14 hours a day supporting this nigga until she couldn't take it no more and was like, you need to go get a goddamn job because this invention ain't going nowhere. And then the relationship continues being bad. They get divorced. And then like EJ said, after they get divorced, his idea pops. And then he makes like hundreds of millions of dollars, residuals, everything. And then he gives her a $10 million check for like for riding with him. Basically, he buys back the mom's house. gives her the keys to it or whatever, but this is after she divorced him, and then she goes fucking nuts, like, because he's with somebody else, you know?
Nigga. Oh, you know what I gave her? A motherfucking job. Shit, I'm not giving you nothing. You gonna come bring your ass over here and work. You done left me. Bring your ass over here. These $100 million. I'm gonna need you to either go get a degree, be an accountant. Shit, you could be my admin assistant. Figure it out. But you about to make $30,000 a year, and
Savage.
we'll call it even.
But you know what though, in the acrimony joint, I could feel the Taraji character a little bit, only because at least she has the argument to say, I funded this shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, so where's my check? You know what I'm saying? On
fuck you mean?
But on
nigga, listen.
But
let the tables have turned. Let the tables have turned, and like think about it. Kamora Lee Simmons. If Russell Simmons' ass go broke today, is anybody gonna expect Kamora Lee Simmons to turn around and be like, you know what, Russ, you going through it? Here's 15 million, or let's get your house out of foreclosure or whatever it is. Like it's double standard. Like it's expected for him to do that, but on the flip side, ain't nobody would have expected if it was the man that gave the woman some startup, and then he was like, you know what, bitch, you just sitting home, you're not cleaning, your clothing line, your makeup line ain't popping, and so I'm gonna go ahead and leave. And then she hits it big. He's struggling, and nobody gonna be like, oh man, she should probably go ahead and help him out. Besides him,
and I brought up the
maybe
argument,
you, Vari, because you're a little bit
feminist. I brought up the argument too, like
on your example, Steve. On your example, Steve, with Kamora Lee and Russ, I'm actually there with you, because I've had this debate. Kamora Lee wouldn't have shit if not for Russ. You know what I'm saying? So when they divorced, he should have got a piece of that. What's the shit she makes? Baby fat, I think it is, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Whatever that shit is. Yeah, he should have got a piece of that shit, because he's probably the one who put in the seed money and introduced her to the right people. She probably doesn't even get in the door places if not for being with the guy who is the CEO of Def Jam. You know what I'm saying? So I'm there with you on that one.
But see, and I brought up the argument too, like, okay, so in reverse, all of these athletes who meet these women in high school, y'all see this shit all the time in Florida. These guys are AAU #1 ranked, #1 in the state, whoop whoop whoop, and before they get out of high school, they got a baby. They're trapped up, all of this stuff, and the baby mom ain't doing nothing but riding the coattails. So if he's unhappy, basically, based on their on their logic, because you only got with me because of the kids, you only riding my coattails. I never really got to get out here and learn myself and see what the world has. And then I find the bank teller who's better than you, who actually supports me, who actually cares about me. I should just go up ahead and cheat and leave you. But then it's wrong, right? It's a double standard.
So that kind of brings me to something that I saw that I think I put in the chat, Vari, and I'm going to let you speak for all feminists everywhere. Why are they killing Adele's ex or soon to be
ex-husband?
Husband, because he getting 130 mil, but motherfucking Jeff Bezos' wife, which we talked about on here,
Bezos,
like, exactly, good for him.
What is that about?
So go ahead, Isha.
No, I mean, what is that about? Like the double standard, man. Like, why is it that in 2020 on one side, motherfuckers want to be equal, right? But when they equally getting that divorce money paid out, it's a problem. Why?
So with the comparing the Adele to Jeff Bezos situation, I don't think it's an apples to apples comparison. And the reason why I say that is that with Bezos and his wife, they didn't have a prenup. To number one, number two, she only got paid 30 billion, and I know I'm saying only like that's peanuts or something like that.
I'm done.
The reason I say the reason I said only. The reason I say only is because at the time that they divorced, Bezos was worth about $130 billion. So she really only got like 20-something% of what he was worth, even though he had cheated on her, and she probably could have took a lot more, right? With that said, with the Adele situation, I think the reason that people are kind of flipping out.
God damn it.
We lost his audio. We lost his audio.
You know what? I'm gonna fire him.
We gotta get prepared. We gotta get prepared for the fuckery here, man. The double standard is real, man. That's double standard is real, man.
He said only 30 billion. like somebody just sitting around. Oh, you know what? Here's just a quick 30 bill.
It's dropping a bucket. 30 billion.
It's
dropping
just
a bucket.
Yeah. He had over 100 billion, but she only got 30 billion. So that makes it fair, right?
Listen, she got more than 30 billion. He would have taken her ass out. she'd have been missing.
But but no, so the point that I was making is that with the Adele situation, from what I've read, Adele is worth something around like $190 million, and the husband is getting something like 140, right? Which is more than half of her net worth. So it makes me wonder, like what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like like that seems crazy that somebody gets 2/3 of your fortune. You know what I mean? So and let me say this. So I know you guys asked me this question since I'm the resident feminist on the podcast, right? But this is an argument that me and my wife have all the time. I think that divorce settlements throughout the world are totally batshit crazy, and I don't think that a person should be allowed to take everything that I've earned because they've essentially spent time with me, so I'm there with you guys on this particular issue. But I think the issue with Adele, I think people are making an issue of it simply because of what her net worth is versus what the ex-husband is going to be getting. It seems like it's out of whack.
Yeah, I did peep that. To her defense, it does seem like he's getting a little bit more than what she may actually have, but not more than what she has, but just a little bit too much. But yeah, I mean, half, right? That's what they always preached, half.
But this is not half. She's worth 190. He's getting 140.
Yeah, but
that's like almost all.
But she's going to continue with residual income. Like you know what I mean? Like she has options to continue, or she's going to have continued money. Should she never make another song, she's going to make money off of the shit that she had before, right? So they might be looking at forecasting. They may have forecasted potential. Listen,
that's exactly what that is.
Listen,
the new album she's gonna drop after this is gonna go 4 times platinum.
Plus, who knows?
Right, but like Rick Ross said, bitch, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym, So
yeah, but listen, it's good for the goose. It's good for the gander, because we've seen it happen to dudes all the time. Don't nobody ever be out there in the news like, yo, like Michael Jordan. Nobody was like, oh, poor Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nobody. Motherfuckers was just like, well, he just gonna sell us some more retros. You know what I'm saying?
Shit, me, Tiger Woods.
You stretch it a little bit.
His wife got a lot of bread though.
Yeah, but Tiger was
because he was cheating on her.
He was getting his
she pierced the prenup. If he wasn't cheating, they had a prenup in place that was going to allow her to get some money, but it was probably going to be like, here's 10 million, 15 million, something like that. Go live your life. He cheated on her. The shit was found out, and it allowed her to pierce their prenup and walk away with like $100 million.
But look, he was unhappy with her, man. She was sitting around.
So get a divorce.
She wasn't polishing the clubs. She wasn't cleaning the golf shoes. None of that. She wasn't doing that. He was unhappy. So, because he was unhappy with her not doing nothing, he should be allowed to do that, right? That was an argument I was presented last night. I mean, the other night.
No. He should have said, "Hey, I'm not happy here, so I'm leaving."
That's what I said. That's what I said Issa should have did, but everybody said nah.
So so there's that, and that's the other part that I think people tend to leave out is a lot of times when motherfuckers decide that these bitches ain't fucking putting out, or they not, you know what I mean, or they're not fucking, like, all right, so Tiger Woods probably went and cheated because his wife was probably tired of the fucking 9 iron. You know what I'm saying? So she wasn't taking the 3-wood, and he decided, fuck it, I'm gonna take my talents to South Beach. You know what I'm saying? And and North Beach and California and Chicago and 25 other spots. But yeah, I guess what VP says is she took advantage of the prenup, but it happens every day, man. And the thing is, we just don't see. And I think what EJ is saying, and we always say this, is it always happens one way. Like, it's supposed to be a two-way street. There's no way that because Adele got to give some up, granted she, I'm just gonna keep that one. That's too toxic. But because Adele had to give it up, it's fucked up. But when dudes is taken to the cleaners, motherfuckers is like, it's just 30 billion.
Nah, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with Adele having to give it up. My problem is just the amount versus what she's worth. That the percentage seems off to me. But even with that said, I think that people like a Tiger, like a Jordan, etc. Right? It's like the comedian Bill Burr said, when you get to that level, you finish playing ball at Madison Square, at the Staples Center, whatever, and you walk out of the arena in your fucking tailor-made suits or whatever the fuck, and there's like a platoon of fucking skanks waiting to throw themselves at you. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're in that fucking life where it's like, yo, you smashing a different chick every night just because you can, like, why the fuck would you get married knowing that shit, like, monogamy is not for you? You know what I'm saying? So the dudes kind of put themselves in these situations where they're like, oh, I'm gonna get married, but still keep the platoon of hoes. You can't have both. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So you got to decide early on whether or not you're gonna be smashing something all the time, or whether or not you want to be monogamous.
Listen, if I'm bringing in millions, I should be able to do the fuck I want. You know what I'm saying? And you got with me in high school, like, like a Dwight Howard and dudes like that, like, like these girls were predatory in a lot of instances, man. They were fast, you know what I'm saying, and getting these dudes knocked up, having these dudes knock them up, knowing that they're number one prospect and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? When does it become fair? You didn't really want me. You just wanted my generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? When does it become fair?
Plus, these hoes know what the hell they getting into. Like, listen, if you get with a athlete of some sort, a professional athlete, a rapper, actor, somebody like that, what you bringing to the table is the question. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like a Gabby Union type thing, they bring something to the table, but bitch, if you was just living in a fucking 1-bedroom and sleeping on a mattress with no fucking box spring, no bed frame, you know what I'm saying? And You fucking separated your rooms with a fucking quilt. Bitch, why I gotta give you $30 million because because I found somebody else. You should be able to walk the fuck out of here with your tiger rug that you brought with you because you was so attached to it. Like, this lifestyle, you wasn't used to it then. You ain't got to be used to it now.
Amen.
Right, but at the end of the day, though, man, like, brothers got to take some personal responsibility here, and wrap that shit up, yo. Like, why the hell are you smashing these random bitches with no rubbers, and then putting yourself in this situation?
You just took it to a whole nother level. Ain't nobody say nothing about running out there without a fucking rubber glove on. You don't see niggas sneezing on people out there. Like, you better put a mask on or something.
But that's what's happening, though. So, as much as you could say, Dwight Howard or whoever else was entrapped, you know what I'm saying? That you the fucking number one prospect in the country. Where shit's headed. You know what I mean? Like, LeBron knew in 11th grade that he was gonna be the number one overall pick. You know what I'm saying? So while these dumbass high school chicks are letting them smash left and right, he need to be wrapping that shit up to make sure that he don't got no residuals.
The high school chicks are the geniuses. It's the young boys, man. They still kids, man. They still kids. And a lot of these instances too, you see some of these chicks was older than them, and you know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about all that though. They just want half.
Somebody tell me why LeBron we ain't heard of nothing. Cause Savannah not like.
Oh no!
This nigga LeBron got $100 million before he even got.
I know where this is going.
LeBron got $100 million before he was drafted. How his mom out there having more fun than him? Like, this dude he fucking TikToking, fucking goddamn.
He's a special guy.
You know what it might be though, man. Like, real talk. I could see LeBron being like me, and what I mean by that is that raised by a single mom, you know what I'm saying, like, raised by a single mom, and maybe he wanted to have like what was missing life, so he's like, I got this chick, she's down for me, I'm down for her, and I'm just gonna be with her, and that's it, you know what I'm saying. And that, I mean, who knows? I mean, as far as we know, LeBron seems like he's a good guy, but who knows? Maybe he's on the road, he's running through him. I don't know, but we haven't really heard anything about this dude, and it could just be that, maybe he is that one guy who just wants to be a family man. You know what I'm saying?
I can relate to that.
Maybe she took his virginity, and he just, he's the clinger. He's like, oh, I can't go nowhere else.
I could relate to the single mom narrative. I can relate to that. I can relate to that, but I can relate to that. That's me though, without $100 million before college.
I'm gonna need both of y'all. One day, the two of y'all gonna come on here and stop fucking lying. Well, because we had single moms, we would never even consider ever.
No, I said this is me without $100 million. Shit, $100 million, I'd have been wilding.
A little bit of earthing.
I'd have been wilding. They did a 30 for 30. How I came and went out the league because I was wilding. Like, LeBron's level of discipline is just is incredible. Him and I mean Kobe was shit. Kobe was that guy too before Colorado. You know what I'm saying? So
consensual.
Yeah. I mean, but just the cheating, aspect of it, man. Rest in peace to the Mamba. But yeah, allegedly. Man, yeah, allegedly.
I mean, it could just be that it could be that we just don't know. You know what I mean? But we got to go off what we see. And what we see, it seems like the dude is a dedicated husband and father, and that's it. And like Steve said, Savannah is not like, super attractive. It's not like motherfuckers are beating her door down like, oh shit, son. You know what I'm saying? But but he, that seems to be his girl.
A little toxicity from the VP.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the dark side.
It is what it is.
Meanwhile, you got Steph. Meanwhile, you got Steph Curry's wife out there thirst trapping and shit. talking about
Yo,
I just
why.
wish another guy would holler at me. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean,
Bitch,
I know
take
we
your
talked about
tiger
this
run.
shit before, but I know we
Matter
talked
of
about this
fact,
shit, but
that shit rubbed me the wrong way.
is she fucking tripping? She
matter of fact,
fucking.
I'm glad we kept your fucking 91 Accord. You can take your little 91 Honda
Yeah.
Accord and drive your ass the fuck down there and look for the next nigga to jump in your DMs. 'Cause-
She's incredible, man. That shit will never sit right with me, man. Steph is a bigger man than me.
Nah, you're 100% right. You're 100% right, EJ. When I, you know what's crazy? Like, I heard about the shit on Twitter, and then my immediate thought was, maybe the shit's out of context, you know? And then I watched the video, and I'm like, nigga, what? I'm like,
Are you dumb? Like, and then for her to be like, you know, kind of like no one pays attention to me. You got a fucking hit cooking show. You're in every magazine, and you don't do shit. You wasn't
Right.
shooting in the gym. Your daddy wasn't Del Curry
Right.
on the road 100 games a year. Your little brother ain't trying to outshine you every chance he can get. You ain't got the bad ankles and went to the small school and everybody said you wasn't gonna be shit. You ain't do shit. You didn't do nothing.
right.
Nothing.
Factual.
Nothing. In the
Actual.
words of Bernie Mac.
Mhm.
Shit,
Actual
me.
factuals.
This shit is crazy, man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to. I had started Insecure, and I even was in the room a couple of times while it was playing and didn't really pay like super attention to it. But I'm gonna have to get back to it because I have heard that it's pretty good, and you know it
Yeah.
sounds like it's gonna give me some fuel to be toxic on on this pod and come on here. Hopefully, you guys will remember the episodes by the time I get to them.
Yeah.
And to Issa Rae's credit, you know, she actually does, you know, the show is a comedy, right? And it's mostly about the relationship thing, but
Mhm.
she also broaches some topics, you know, like the office that she works in, you know, it's like she's the only person of color there, you know.
Code
And
switching,
so,
yeah.
you know, people come and ask her shit like in first episode of the series, this one white girl asks her like, "What's on fleek mean?" You know, and she was like, I don't know. You know, but like they do these things where like they go like in her head where she's like, bitch, don't be asking me that because I'm black, you know, but that's like in her head, you know what I'm saying? And then they touch on other topics like her best friend on the show, Molly. She's like a successful lawyer, and the dude that she like is like fucking married, and you know she's the side chick. But this dude who's played by the character Lil Rel, you know, the dude from Get Out.
Oh yeah. He got a show too.
He likes her. Yeah, he likes her, and he's also a lawyer. He just works in a different office of the like in the Chicago office of their law firm. He's there for her. He's giving her career advice, all kind of shit like that. And she's like, "Oh, I know he likes me, but he's kind of fat, you know." Meanwhile, you know, he's like doing all, yeah. You know?
What do you mean?
So
he's not tall, good looking, and married enough.
Yeah, because the married dude, you know, he tall, light skin, 6-pack, all that kind of shit like that. Meanwhile, the dude who's in there for her, giving her great advice, let her cry on his shoulder, da 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 da. He could afford to eat a salad every now and then, so she can't fuck with him.
Mm-hmm.
I see how
but shout out to Issa though. Her she's brilliant, man. I really dig the show.
Yeah.
And you know, the movies, I got to catch up on a couple movies like she was in. She had a couple joints that she just did, the Valentine's Day joint that came out. I can't remember the name of it. And then there's the other one that she got with the Indian dude, man. But shout out to her though. I think she's only like 32, 33, man, and she's doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I heard that that it was a good one. And actually, isn't she was she the one that was in oh fuck, what was the show? The fucking the fucking Boogie Monster show. Was that her?
Boogie Monster. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
The Jason Bateman shit that was on HBO.
I don't think so.
That wasn't her.
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe.
I think she pretty much came out the gate with her stuff, right? VP.
I thought she was. Hold on, I'm gonna check that.
Well, Issa Rae was a YouTuber, and then she basically turned, went from YouTube to HBO.
Yeah, she came straight out the gate with her shit, pretty much. And
Yeah,
I think she really set a really she really did something I wouldn't say unprecedented, but on her level of doing it, because a lot of YouTubers have made it to different positions and success. But for her to have her own production and TV show contracts and movies, man, she's putting on, Only thing I don't like about Insecure is Amanda Seales. I don't like Amanda Seales at all. I don't like her at all.
really?
Nah, I don't. From the incident where she kind of put out Myron Rolle, the former corner DB that's now a doctor. She kind of tried to put him out there saying like he did some creep shit, and then she walked it back when he kind of like defended himself and was getting legal shit. So I kind of didn't like that from her. In this day and age, it just in totality, just knowing, the things that people can get from you trying to say that they did some creep shit, some sexual shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard enough for brothers out here, just getting them type accusations on the reg for you to, put something out there and then try to walk it back and then, basically leave no real explanation. Just, hey, fuck it. I did what I did. It is what it is kind of shit. That shit was kind of corny to me. And it's kind of died down because we haven't really heard too much about it. I don't know if he really went forward to take legal action against her. But I just didn't think, like, for somebody who's supposed to be so much for the culture and for the people, I think she had a really bad moment where she was being thirsty about something and trying to get attention, and she put that shit out there. And I mean, none of the facts have come out to support anything that she said regarding him. And it more or less it seems like she was just throwing shit against the wall and making him seem like a fucking creep, and he really didn't do that. So I just didn't like that aspect, and I can't respect it. Today's day and age with the cancel culture and all that shit going on, that's not something you should do.
So it was not Issa Rae. I was thinking about The Outsider. I thought we talked about that show here. Maybe it was E that saw it. But the black actress, the female actress that was in it was the one from Harriet.
Okay.
In Harriet.
Okay.
Cynthia Erivo, I believe, is how you pronounce her name. So I
have no idea, but people canceled her too for her comments that she said about American blacks. She said something. She's English. She's British, rather.
Oh,
British. Yeah, she said something regarding American blacks, and so a lot of people kind of canceled her a little bit. And she has a white guy, so people were kind of upset about. Some people were upset about that.
I'm sure. Can't let never mind. So you guys been watching EJ. Last night was the battle.
Yes, indeed.
The RZA and DJ Premier. I know VP, you didn't get a chance to see this one, and you probably wouldn't have appreciated it as much as us. Specifically because the battle was super dead ass. It was a whole New York vibe with the Wu and and just everything that Primo's done with Jay-Z and tons of Gangstar, etc., etc., etc. But EJ, from what you saw, what'd you think?
Man, I just sent the list of the tracks that they played.
Okay.
I think initially RZA's sound was fucked up, so it was kind of hard to hear the tracks. But just going down the list, man, the first round, you got GZA. He played GZA Liquid Swords. Then he played Jay-Z A Million and One Questions. That's one of my favorite joints, but I had to give it a tie. Then he did Method Man Bring the Pain, man. Oh man, that shit was crazy. MOP breaking the rules. I gave that to RZA.
Yeah, I think that's RZA.
Yeah, I mean, just going down the line, if you just look at it all, and to your point, Steve, if you look at Preem's track list, there's literally only 2 dudes that are not from New York on his list in Royce Track and Gangstar, of course, because that was his group mate. Guru being his group mate, being from, I believe, Boston. And the crazy shit is Preem is not even from New York originally. He's originally from Houston, but he spent so much time in New York. You probably think he's an honorary New Yorker, but yeah, man, I thought the shit was pretty neck and neck for a long time. I think, Preem using the Jay-Z and Nas cheat codes got a lot of people, on his side. But when you look at the track listings, man, I mean, just some joints that RZA got, just some notable joints: Liquor Swords, Bring the Pain, Protect Your Neck, Method Man, Wu-Tang Method Man, the Ray, Verbal Intercourse, the motherfucking Ghostface. Then you got Cream, you got Brooklyn Zoo, Shimmy Shimmy, The Long Kiss Goodnight. I mean, and then You're All I Need. But then you got Preem he had some joints, man. KRS MCs, Act, Das Effects joint. Shit, I didn't even know he did the Devil's Pie shit with D'Angelo on the
shit.
Belly joint. I was like, damn. The Evils with Jay, of course, a smash. Nas is like a smash. Shit, Biggie, the Unbelievable, Kick in the Door, New York State of Mind. Yo, I mean, the 10 Crack Commandments. That shit was fire, man. I think if they carried it a little bit more in a showmanship aspect, it just seemed like these guys in comparison to T.I. and not T.I. to T-Pain and Lil Jon, there was more of the entertainment, jousting, going back and forth kind of aspect. So I think what we are gonna see with these battles is really gonna not so much lie with the hits, but also the personalities of these people. You know what I'm saying? Like Preem was real laid back, was chilling,
Humble. Yeah.
humble. RZA was telling some good stories, behind the shit, so that made it entertaining. But I think with the T-Pain thing, I think T-Pain and Lil Jon's still gonna be one of my favorite ones for me, because just the entertainment aspect, the motherfuckers was funny as shit. You know what I'm saying? Like T-Pain was cracking me the fuck up.
So yeah, T-Pain is funny actually. I've been following him since and been on his live. He's funny. I didn't know he was funny like that. So I think Preem was extremely humble, to your point. I think, what got me with this battle, right? I feel like for me, I would have given it to Primo if we're looking at it as a producer battle, because he had more outlets. He's more versatile, right? Off of versatility, he got him. But I think and the other part with RZA is a lot of his shit came from the same album. So either 36 Chambers or Only Built for Cuban Links, right? He had a couple sprinkled in there, the 2 from Old Dirty's album, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, you're looking you're looking at that. And I think quietly, like, those, because Wu-Tang was so big on the fucking on a stage, such a huge stage in the 90s, they held such a fucking heavy ground that when you hear those Wu songs, you're like, oh, that's that shit. But then quietly Preem would drop some shit that you'd be like, oh, all right, you know what I'm saying? But I think it was an excellent battle, man. And I think if I'm talking producers, I think it goes to Primo overall. I think if you're talking popularity songs, I think it goes to RZA. But I am extremely excited for next week.
What's next week?
Next week, dun 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 dun. And Vari, if you're black and you claim to be, you should probably tune into this one. It is Babyface versus Teddy Riley.
They had postponed it, and
yeah,
okay.
But I think, I think when you on the fucking surface, you think Babyface is gonna get Teddy Riley the fuck out of there, but then you forget Teddy Riley did Remember the Time and fucking those MJ tracks. And
Teddy Riley got I mean, if you just go with his fucking Guy and Blackstreet catalog alone, I mean, that motherfucker got, I mean, the whole New Jack Swing, you talking about I'll Be Sure joints, you talking about Heavy D joints. I mean, Teddy got a fucking catalog, bro.
Yep. I think people sleep on it, but because Babyface is such a big name, but don't sleep on Babyface now. Don't sleep on Babyface.
I can't, I mean, see, I wouldn't, I think a lot of his joints will come from people that from joints he wrote or did for other people. I know not a lot of his smashes are gonna outdo Teddy's. Like, it's not a lot of his smashes that's gonna outdo Teddy. I mean, he got his After Seven joints and some of his solo joints. But if you're gonna, I think I would have to look to see what he's written. But I would think it's a lot of the joints he's written for other people. Like I know he's done joints for Carrie,
So he
Whitney,
did
all type people.
Yeah, he did Whitney. He did the Johnny Gill, My, fire. He did the End of the Road for Boys to Men. Obviously, his tracks. Oh, Bobby Brown, every little man. This shit is gonna be fire.
Wow. When are they? What day are they doing that? Is it a weekend joint again?
Next Saturday. Woo.
Yeah, I need these motherfuckers to stick to this shit this time. I know he had the Tony. I know he did Tony Braxton whole shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
didn't even know he did Every Little Step.
I didn't know he did fucking Someone to Love, John B shit.
Oh yeah. He put because he was on the joint. He was on John B whole album.
And Tevin Campbell shit. Can we talk?
Tevin Campbell, yeah. End of the Road. Madonna, Take a Bow.
Yeah, it's gonna be nasty.
Shit.
It's gonna be nasty. I'm gonna love that one. That one's gonna be fucking phenomenal. So shout out to Babyface too, because not sure if you were familiar, but the reason that they ended up postponing is because he and his family tested positive for COVID.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So according to his birthday was a couple of days ago. I saw him all over the net basically saying, hey, I'm down for it on the 18th. We getting it popping. And the family's had a full recovery, so that's good to hear.
Oh, I see this motherfucker. I see this motherfucker pulling out the trick bag, yo. He got a Ariana Grande joint. This nigga ain't slick, yo.
Take him to the new age.
Yeah, damn, he did Bobby Brown Rock with you. Damn. Brandy sitting up in this shit. They need more than 20 songs, dog. They need more than 20 songs.
They're gonna have to do like a 30. See, the problem though is that this nigga Teddy, when he plays the fucking draw four, when he played a draw four, nigga, when you think Babyface said Uno, he gonna hit him with the draw four with an MJ track, and you're gonna be like, oh, we gotta keep going. Got to.
Listen, man. Like I said, the guy joints alone, from I Like to Let's Chill to motherfucking man, this guy fucking Blackstreet.
They need to make a CD out of that battle, because that's gonna be the baby maker.
That shit is nuts.
Ooh, it's gonna be phenomenal.
That shit is nuts.
Don't worry, VP. If Trick Daddy does one, we'll make sure that you're aware.
Yo. Yeah, shit. This shit is crazy, man. I can't. Yeah, man. It's gonna be crazy.
I think
it's gonna be crazy.
It'll be interesting, man. So they I thought I had seen something new about the NBA and the playoffs. I think they said they were holding off on that phenomenal idea they had about putting them all in the same arena.
Yeah, well, the other thing, Dana White's failed attempt of trying to have UFC 249, Disney got involved because he was going to have it somewhere in California, and pretty much, told the governor they need to shut that shit down. So yeah, it's gonna be quite interesting to see what happens The WWE had their event with no spectators, and now it's coming out that a lot of guys, a lot of entertainers, a lot of WWE staff and wrestlers tested positive for coronavirus.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting, man. And Dana White, by the way, who was a Trump supporter.
Dana White that said he's going to try and buy a private island so he could run not WWE, fucking UFC events.
Yep. And
Yeah.
Anything for
that shit was it was interesting, the UFC joint, because it was my understanding that, like, other companies that normally show like boxing, like Showtime and HBO, etc., they didn't want it. And then he took it to ESPN, and before ESPN could even make a decision, Disney got involved, which is ESPN's parent company, and shut it down basically. Which to me was surprising, that you had a corporation showing some responsibility here. And like EJ said, you're starting to see these wrestling motherfuckers starting to test positive. The whole point of social distancing is not to say, well, as long as you have events, but you keep it close with no fans or whatever, because you figure to put on a WWE style event, UFC, even if it's basketball games played in one arena, etc., you might need 100 people to do that, and while these people don't all have to interact with each other in very close proximity, a lot of them are. And it only takes for one person who's asymptomatic, a person who has it but don't have symptoms of it, to spread it,
Mm-hmm.
And then those people leave, however they got there, plane, train, bus, whatever, and go back to wherever they're from, and they start spreading it, which basically goes to the whole point of, like, Steve and I have talked in the chat as well as on the podcast about how the governor here in Florida didn't shut down the beaches, for example. You had people who flew in to different parts of Florida for spring break, and they may have come in with it or either left with it and then took it back to wherever they from and continued to spread it throughout their communities. It's just like the thing I said last week that my wife had showed me on Facebook, where the person said, having, a stay-at-home order with all of these different exceptions is like having a peeing section in a pool. And we shouldn't have these events. While we're all sports fans, and I miss sport, and I can't wait for sports to come back. For right now, we're gonna have to take our medicine a little bit and then get back to normal. If we rush it, we're just going to get back to where we are now.
Yeah, if not worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We'll see. I mean, I think I saw a headline that said that New York finally had they went down in number of deaths one day to the next, finally, a couple days ago. So, I mean, it's, as far as people infected, we're not going to see that number go down, because we know that's going to be consistent. But seeing the the fatality rate, mortality rate go down is definitely a bonus there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't help but think that maybe Kobe Bryant was the glue that held everything together.
You said who?
Kobe. Kobe went.
Yo, man, you know what? I was just thinking, I was just watching Football Life with Derek Thomas, who was one of my favorite players of all time, football wise, man. I mean, I don't think I ever was emotionally connected to a player or athlete outside of maybe a couple of guys on the Yankees, couple of Knicks like John Starks, but a dude that I had no real allegiance to team wise, man. But like that Bronx Tale moment where they talking about Mickey Mantle and Cologeno, you know what I'm saying? But Derek Thomas, man, his tragic death at 33 in a car accident, this Kobe thing, it kind of reminded me of it, man. And it's really gonna be something to see, like when you're gonna see the Hall of Fame, you're gonna see all of the old guys. I mean, everybody has a Kobe story, But it's just really shocking. Like, he's really not here. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And imagine had we had to fucking social distance. I saw a meme that said if we had to social distance a few months earlier, if the shit had popped off like in December, he would still be here.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's
So,
crazy, man.
but yeah, man. Next week, the 18th. Look forward to that one. That's Saturday. We might have to go live for that one. I can't
Watch
wait.
party.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come visit your African American heritage for that one, VP. Turn off the Aerosmith for a minute.
I love Aerosmith.
I love Aerosmith too, but I love Babyface more.
Facts. Facts.
Um.
Trade.
All right, man. So, as always, man, we gotta be a little bit mature about it. Everybody, stay safe out there. Wash your damn hands. Clean up after yourself. Stop throwing the fucking gloves on the floor, man. God damn, I went to Costco and I seen fucking gloves in the parking lot. Like, motherfuckers went inside, bought their shit, put their shit in the car, took the gloves off before getting in their car and threw it on the fucking ground. Like, that's not doing anybody no good. You know what I'm saying? So, put your fucking gloves in the garbage. Put your masks in the garbage. I saw some of those on the floor. Fucking stay in the house. Stay in the house. Watch Netflix. HBO just added 48 fucking series for people to watch. Go watch the goddamn Sopranos. Go listen to Ready to Die if you've never done that. I mean, it's very far and few, but there are people that have not done that. Familiarize yourself with what's out there, man. But stay safe, man, and healthy. And EJ, if you want to add anything to that, go ahead. If not, then we will have the VP do his take us out of here.
Hey, everybody, we definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us. And you see the title, episode L, Roman numeral L for 50. This is the 50th episode of the Castworthy Podcast. We appreciate you guys who have been here from the beginning. We appreciate you guys who have joined recently. And we look forward to the next 50. We hope to get better, bring you more content, definitely don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. You can find us on all your social media platforms at Castworthy, on Instagram at Castworthy_podcast. And again, we appreciate you guys making that decision to ride with us. And we definitely look forward to bringing you the next 50 episodes. And like Steve said a moment ago, stay home. Ain't nothing out there for you but Corona. So stay your ass home, protect yourself, protect your family, and think about them healthcare workers. Protect them by staying home. Protect the families by staying home. If you stay home, you don't get Corona and they don't got to treat you. Stay your ass home. We'll see you on the next episode. And again, we appreciate you guys rocking with us. We'll see you next time. Peace.